Okay, I'm back. This is Les with C4. We'll just continue where we left off. Vacuum gauge, blower oiler, chemical flow meter. Now something we do, we use a 1 to 5. And normally you use these around 2.5, so the injection jug, your 5-gallon bucket, will last about 2 hours before you have to refill it. So we always use lower flow on the chemical flow meter. Garden hose connection, like I said, we've got a 2-inch vacuum inlet here. This tank is 130-gallon usable capacity. It's 150 total, but you got a true 130 till the vacuum switch shuts it off. And we'll go back over here on this side. Again, as I had mentioned before, if the machine is mounted in the side door, it's coming out the side door, the driver's seat's here, passenger seat's there. So again, look, if you have most truck mounts, or 90% of most, seems like that most truck mounts have pump related problems. It's always the pressure drops or normally. So it's nice to be able to get to this pump. And if you can see, again, as I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I can turn around and the pump's just sitting up in the air, easy to get to. And I can take the pump head off and replace the seals without removing any hoses. I just remove these 6 bolts, slide it off, put the seals in it, slide it back on. Remember, the pump pumps cold water with this machine, and the regulator operates cold. And you will not believe how that extends the life of those 2 components by operating under cold condition, and also the pulsation dampener. As you can see, everything's easy to get to on this unit. Everything's spread out, and it's easy to get to all the components. We use a Baco relief valve, vacuum relief valve. Thanks to Greenie. Greenie turned us onto this. This right here is a chamber. It's welded on this recovery tank, and it's a velocity deaccelerator. It takes the speed of the air, slows it down so we don't pull water through the blower. That's what that little chamber's for there. This right here is our float box. Incoming water, it's cold. It's got a little float in there, just maintains a level inside there. And that's your water box. Most truck mounts have these, but they're not normally cold. Rear access to the recovery tank here. Then I want to talk about the blower. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these 408 Gardner Denver blowers in person, but I have to say, when you put it up next to a standard blower, it's twice the amount of weight. These are massive, overbuilt blowers. They're tri-lobe, they're quieter, and if you see the way we have it configured, this is one of the things we've always done, even on our TNT. See, the blower is only about 10 inches from the recovery tank, so we don't have a long pipe here. Also, there's a 0 back pressure silencer on here that we had made, and there's no back pressure. So when it says 550 CFM, that's true performance, because we don't restrict the air going in or out of the blower. Now, a lot of heat exchangers, they'll put a restrictor and they'll hide it down inside here and choke it down to 1 inch to get the machine to load to produce heat. So there's a lot of little tricks people do on heat exchangers, but on a Judson machine, you've got total 0 resistance in and out of the machine. The silencer is a very nice, no back pressure system that's mounted directly on the blower. Now we come over here and I want to show you how we do the engine exhaust. The engine exhaust is tied into the blower exhaust. And a lot of times that's not too good, especially if it's before the silencer. There's too much back pressure. As you see, this is after the silencer. And what we actually have here is a venturi. And we create a suction on this engine. So there's 0 back pressure and a slight suction by the way it's got a venturi effect here. We can go straight through the floor, or we can turn this and come out beside the machine. There's a lot of different configurations that we can do the exhaust. And so that's basically the walk around of the machine. It's real simple and it's easy to work on. And now let's talk about the performance here, and we'll walk over to the heater. Now what we use to heat with is the number 4 little giant heater. And this right here is one of Greenie's wands. It was high flow wand. This wand is made for this heater. I've never seen 2 things that go together as good as this right here, Greenie's wand and this heater, because this unit will maintain 240 degrees on Greenie's 10 flow wand at 500 and 600 psi. But when you're doing commercial work with this heater, it only burns 0.9 of 1 gallon of gas per hour. 9/10 of a gallon is all this burns when you're doing commercial work. In other words, the trigger's on. Most of the time, it's burning most of the time, so the most that this thing will use is 9/10 of a gallon per hour. Now, if you're doing residential, or you're doing apartments, this only burns about a half a gallon an hour because the trigger's off more, the flame shuts off more. It's rated for 1500 psi, so you can run your tile floors. It'll maintain 220 degrees on a spinner at 1300 psi. So that gives you an idea of the performance of the heat. So that's about all I want to say about the C4. Just a little brief description of it for you. I know a lot of people's been asking me a lot about it, so I thought I'd make this for you. So I appreciate you taking a look at the C4. Thanks.